Hey, what's up guys? John here. We've all heard this story about a gas station owner canceling all operations simply because he doesn't want to support these predatory oil prices. And I look at these headlines and I'm not really sure what to think sometimes. Really good, at least in my opinion, a really good way to see things today is don't read the headlines, read between the lines, because they're banking on you only reading the first few words, coming up to a conclusion, one in which they want you to support, and then skimming along your day. All these apps, TikTok, all of them, are designed to help just do that, to get that short attention span. So when they say this gentleman is canceling his operations due to what oil companies are doing, these predatory practices, you have to ask, is this what he's actually doing, or is this story a little bit deeper than what we're told? This goes really perfectly in line with what the mainstream, what everyone's telling us, that the oil companies are predatory, that they're horrible, they're the worst, and that we need to figure out a new way. But the reality is they weren't so bad last year, or the year before, Everything was completely fine. Now gas is $5.50, $6. If you live in an expensive city, New York, LA, you might see $7 or $8, right? Or even more. I mean, in Northern California, there's a gas station charging almost $10, right? But then we have to look at what is it like, from the other side of the coin. Imagine you are the oil company. These oil companies now, as of an hour ago, Biden is proposing a 21% surtax on oil profits, right? Oil profits, 21% surtax on top of their traditional taxes. And then we're closing down our natural resources here, right? We closed 2 locations in the Gulf of Mexico just a couple weeks ago. The Alaskan Inlet we closed as well a couple weeks ago. Keystone Pipeline. We've closed so many of them, right? And we're also now no longer accepting fuel from Russia. So what is likely going to happen? We have the same demand and we're reducing supply. Obviously, prices are going to continue to rise, right? And so when we start moving in a direction of really going against oil companies, what is that going to do? It's obviously going to really push these oil companies into a corner in which they're not going to expand operations. They're not going to be able to offer more production, meaning prices are just going to go higher and higher and higher. We likely will see a lot of these oil companies go under in the next 5 to 10 years as we start moving away from traditional fossil fuels. Take a look at this. Gas station owner who stopped selling fuel over rip-off prices applauded, right? They applaud the situations in which they want you to applaud. So what they do is they'll probably take a couple different articles or comments from different social media platforms and they'll highlight it and then they'll make you think that, wow, if these 3 people said this, then this must be true against thousands of people. And so if they're all thinking that and I'm thinking something else, that means that I'm probably wrong because, the bias is that the general public thinks this, so I should lean with that. Right? With gas prices hitting historic levels across the country, one gas station owner is drawing praise online for calling out what he called a ripoff being perpetuated by oil companies. Reynold Gladu was operated Wren's mobile station in Amherst, Mass. for around 48 years. Last week, in response to soaring prices, he opted to drain his tanks and not have them refilled, refusing to take part in the business, which he claims is taking advantage of customers. In the state, average gas prices currently exceed the national average of $5. I don't want to be a part of it anymore, Gladu told Daily Hampshire Gazette in an article published Tuesday. This is the biggest ripoff that has ever happened to people in my lifetime. Dealing with mobile, they don't think through their pricing policies anymore. I've served their product, but I refuse to do it anymore because they're only getting richer. And a lot of people would quickly jump on board with that because a lot of people are saying, you know what, gas prices are through the roof. It's these greedy oil companies. They're the worst. But the reality is, I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think that markets are set by supply and demand. If we reduce supply, then obviously what's going to happen? Prices are going to continue going up. His story, as of Saturday, gained traction online with social media users praising the decision to step back from his business and speak out. I would like to give an applause to Reynold Gladu, owner of Wren's Mobile gas station in Amherst, Mass, for stopping the sale of gas in protest of gas companies fleecing Americans. I would love to give applause, right? Love this guy, Reynold Gladu, who said there's no justification in selling at high prices. User Cindy, so if we're not going to sell at these high prices, then what is the real thing that we're saying here? Are we saying that oil companies are bad, or are we saying that the current policies in which oil companies are operating in is bad, right? What is the real pinpoint to the problem? That's what we have to really talk about, not just a hypothetical best case scenario, bad guy over here. Rubin added his own tweet echoing similar allegations for some that gas companies are using certain economic factors as cover for high prices. It's terrible what these companies are doing. Too many people believe that the lies that oil companies are stating. It's just wrong, right? He's stopping selling gas because gas companies are robbing the public. Yup, stop stealing the public. I love this guy, right? Everyone, look at this. It's hard enough for people to put groceries on their table after working at the factory or wherever they work for 30 to 40. It's almost as if someone else wrote these for 40 hours a week and not being able to put gas in their car to get to work. I don't want to be a part of it, right? While most reactions online have been supported, a few have been critical. Gladio's decision, with one Twitter pondering why he did not opt to sell cheaper gas. Moving forward, Gladio said that it's unlikely that he'll be able to keep operating his business without the profits from the sale. So he's basically saying that I'm willing to close down my business, my 45, 50-year business that I've had, in protest, and I'm not going to be able to work anymore. This is how strongly I feel against going against gasoline, right? This is what he's saying. I feel so bad and I'm so strong against fossil fuels that I'm willing to really take massive sacrifices. And because of this, so should you. We should do the right thing and boycott them, right? Vins Mobile also operates 3 garage bays that offer a range of repair and maintenance services, including oil changes, brakes repairs, and tire installations. Responding to an inquiry from Newsweek, ExxonMobil spokesperson Julie King claimed that prices are beyond the company's control. Service stations are individually owned, and their fuel based on local market competition and other business factors, King wrote. Prices at the pump are influenced by the price of crude and wholesale price of products, which fluctuate according to the demand and supply factors such as economic conditions and seasonal factors, fuel production, inventory levels, storage, and transportation costs. This is what I think is happening here. I think that I'm not so sure I believe this whole story. I think something's kind of weird with this thing. I think that we are going to start to see a lot more of these situations where people start, standing up and standing against oil companies. I mean, it just makes so much sense. You look at the electric vehicle push, you look at everything that's happening. We have to connect the dots here. What do you think about this entire situation? What does this mean for the economy? What do you think? Drop it below. Let's have a conversation about this. I think this story is much, much, much bigger than people realize at this moment. I think in 6 months or a year, we're going to look back on this and realize just exactly what this story meant. Subscribe here and subscribe to my second YouTube channel. It's going to be an interactive show and a podcast, a call-in show coming up this upcoming week. I'm really looking forward to it. People are going to be able to call in, talk. We're going to talk about business, the economy, real estate, stuff like this, one-on-one. It's going to be really interactive. I'm really, really waiting for this. And also LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everything's in the banner. You want to get started on YouTube, you want to get on the YouTube grind with me, join a private community, cashnow.video. If you want to get started in real estate investing when the market crashes, you want to learn now and get everything in line, cashnow.video. If you need help with your credit, you want to get your credit score in a position to where you're able to get the best mortgage rates, especially these days. Rates are going so high, and I believe that we're going to likely continue to see rates rise. But as rates rise, what generally happens? Prices likely come down from the skies. So big opportunities coming in the real estate space, online, massive opportunities for those that are prepared, but there's a hell of a lot of uncertainty in this world, and we all have to have enough money and enough control and enough options so we can pivot with the times. I'll see you guys in the next video.